First Alert Severe Weather Update.
All right, back with you because we have now another tornado warning for parts of the Metro Quad cities here. And Kyle, why don't you go ahead and get me on that radar there? Yeah, looks like this isn't going to work, so we're going to have you run things.
You got it. We'll get back on the radar here momentarily. There we go.
But this is our new tornado warning. This goes until 9:15. This is for much of Henry County and a little bit of portions of Mercer County, eastern Mercer County, and again along that line of storms. And we just pointed this out a few minutes ago as we were looking at that line of storms moving into Mercer County. There was a little twist there, and as you can see, we're dealing with yet again another line of or another twist, possible spin in the atmosphere along that line of storms, and that's why the Weather Service has just put out that tornado warning for much of Henry County. There you can see it, and this includes areas right around Woodhull, Cambridge, Geneseo, probably over to Atkinson, Jocelyn, and areas just south and east of the metro. And it's right along that line of storms right there. Very heavy rain, but along that as well, we've got that little notch that we were talking about, and that's giving us the chance for a tornado. So that's why if you're in these areas till 9:15, you're going to want to take shelter as this line continues to move to the east northeast, or really now closer to northeast, really north-northeast at about 45 miles per hour. And as we continue with this line, we still have some severe thunderstorm warnings along it. Some of those warnings also mark tornado possible because along these lines we have these little spins taking place. This one was the most prominent that kind of jumped out at us on the radar screen, and that's why we've got these now portions mostly of Henry County, Illinois, in the tornado warning until 9:15 p.m.
Yeah, I'm looking at if we could take Max 2 in the control room, guys. We've got the velocity pulled up here, and this is what we're watching. Within this line, there's those areas that we could see some circulation. So we're going to keep a very close eye on this. And that's within this area here, just to the south of Orion. That's the area I'm concerned with. I'm going to go ahead and circle this so we can kind of get a good idea of exactly where we're watching. But really up and down this line, I think there's going to be, throughout the evening tonight, as we mentioned before we took it back to programming, we're probably going to see a lot of these little spin-up quick circulations here forming. But right now, just to the south of Orion, right there's one, and I would say near Woodhull. We're also watching a couple circulations there. We'll put this in motion and show you exactly what we're seeing. But yeah, those areas are going to be the area that we watch for that circulation. That's why we've got that new tornado warning. That does include Geneseo, Atkinson, Kelowna. We got some times of arrival here, folks. Orion, 8:45, just about here within the next couple minutes. So take immediate tornado precautions if you're in Orion and Dover. 8:45 as well, 8:50 in Kelowna. As Eric mentioned, give yourself a few extra minutes here to kind of pad that time a little bit. Closing in on the top of the hour will be in Geneseo, and then just a little bit after that, Jocelyn and Atkinson as well.
And as we take a look at Max 1, we'll show you the warnings that we're dealing with right now. Here's a severe thunderstorm warning till 9:15. Again, we're looking at a possible tornado with this ahead of the line that's moving through. And I just want to clear off the radar so you know exactly who is in the path of this storm. This would be for Clinton County, and as we come on out, eastern portions of Cedar County, Iowa, much of Scott County, pretty much all of Scott County, and also portions of Muscatine County and Rock Island County. Then as we drop a little farther south, this is the tornado warning that we're looking at right now. And the reason for this is, as we can take a look a little bit closer at this line of storms here, we'll stop this so you can get an idea of why we're looking at this warning. A little bit of a circulation down here, right toward the middle of the screen, little bit of an inflow notch here. That would be the spin that we're watching just to the south and west of Andover. And again, this will be a tornado warning that is in effect until 9:45 this evening. Also with hail and strong winds with that storm. And then as we look at the rest of Henry County, Illinois, you can see that that's got that orange box because, again, ahead of that line, still looking at possible tornadoes along our severe thunderstorm warning. And then as we drop farther south to Knox County, about the northern third or northern half, northeastern half of Knox County, now out of Galesburg as that line has passed through till 9 o'clock. So just about 15 more minutes, we have that warning that goes for Knox County and to areas just south of Bureau County. And boy, with these storms heading to the north, north and east. Wouldn't be surprised if Bureau County gets in on that as well.
Let's take Max 2. Look at this in our Rock Island camera here. No visibility. We're seeing those sheets of rain starting to move in here, so that strong thunderstorm, at times severe as well. Visibility's down to probably less than, I'd say, a quarter of a mile, if not down to zero. So we're watching that move in here. Is strongest portion of that storm moving into the metro.
Yeah, and on radar here we can see it on this version of the radar. You can see why we're dropping visibility. We are right here downtown, and we're looking into that heavy sheet of rain coming on through. So again, that's something that we're keeping an eye on, because along these lines that have those strong winds, we can get those little spins, and that's one reason why we have that tornado warning that, again, right here includes much of Henry County, Illinois, with the leading edge of those storms now from Orion back to the south and east, probably down toward Galva. That's why we're probably going to see this tornado warning be clipped a little bit on its southwest end to account for the movement of those storms. And again, that goes till 9:15 for much of Henry County. So if you're in Cambridge, up toward Geneseo, all of these rural areas, especially now, right now, south of Interstate 80, you need to take shelter because that line is closing in on you pretty quickly. And if you're north of I-80 in these this box, which is essentially northwestern portions of Henry County, Illinois, you need to be planning on taking shelter pretty quickly here as we get farther into this warning that, as you can see, goes until 9:15.
Yeah, we go back to Max 2. We're going to kind of bounce back and forth between the two sources here. And yeah, the circulations are there, but it's just so touch and go, Eric. It's going to be one scan, we see it, and then the next scan, it's gone. But I would say right now, actually, just southwest of Cambridge is probably, and due south of Andover is probably where we're seeing the strongest of that circulation right there. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. I'll pixel see what kind of wind we're getting in that. Oh, wow, look at that. The shear, 120 mile an hour shear with that. That is a sign, and that is an area right where it looks like we've got that circulation. That's a pretty, if that is on the ground, if there is a tornado with that, it could be a pretty strong one. So we'll watch that closely. Doesn't mean that that's happening, but radar is catching that. So if you're in Andover and Cambridge, you need to take your immediate tornado precautions. Do it right now. Also, that will eventually be moving up into Geneseo. So we're watching that closely. Obviously, the metro here, yeah, things are a little dicey right now as that storm is moving in, but we go up the line here looking at for wind and maybe some rotation. Something we're going to kind of watch here as it approaches the radar site, but the biggest concern is where they have this tornado warning for Henry County. Again, kind of that western, I'd say half of Henry County, just about roughly. But here into northeast of Galesburg, too, some areas that we got to watch. But something we'll keep an eye on here. Just again, kind of touch and go here throughout that line. Yeah, and that line, if we go back to 1 here, as you can see, it's very close to Andover. So this is just approaching Andover. It's now over and past Orion, now on top of Andover and Cambridge, and all these rural areas between that line, say from Andover to Cambridge, back up to Orion, all the way up to Interstate 80 toward the Big X. You folks, we know that's a rural area, but we know you're there, so you need to be taking shelter immediately because this line is moving your way. And again, this black box that you can see right here on the east, bordered by this portion to the west, and goes into northern portions of Henry County, that is a tornado warning until 9:15 this evening. So we still have a little shy of half an hour to go, but again, it is making progress through the county with those little dents on the leading edge of the line, and that's why we, right over I-74 right now, and then back towards southwest of Andover. These are suspicious little areas that we're going to have to be watching closely and be a little bit more concerned with as we go through the next hour or so here, as this continues to move to the northeast at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. I'm going to back up just a little bit. Look at that, just outside of Galva, too, a little area there of concern. So just, again, all up and down that line, Eric, there. Yeah, that's right. And again, this is our specific tornado warning, but don't be fooled. I mean, anywhere along this line, these spin-ups can quickly occur. So if you haven't had that big blast of wind yet or the heavy rain, then, you know, you're in a position where you need to be ready to take shelter very quickly because, again, here's Henry County. There's the southern edge of Henry County into northeastern Knox County. And of course, this will continue through Stark County, eventually into Bureau County. And then as we extend north past the Metro Quad cities, that also gives us the chance to see things up and still into eastern Iowa. Yeah, maybe you want to try that and see if that... Let's see. Get that working. Yeah, as we're looking at that, continuing to. There you go.
There we go. Okay.
We're continuing to watch this, Eric, because it's still a concern here that a couple areas of rotation, National Weather Service saying they're pitting this circulation maybe near the Orion area. But we'll go back to that here.
There we go.
Whoops.
No, that's not going to do it either. Yeah, this is not working.
Yeah, gotta love technology. We'll go as we're flipping through here. We'll go back to the watch because I know that's one thing we noted here, and they did start trimming that back. But hey, Bureau County, Whiteside County, you certainly are in that. So heads up as this continues to move through. So we're back to radar here, and we'll zoom in here to that warning. They did trim it back a little bit, but they're noting that the circulation is near Orion to near Cambridge right now is where they're watching that. So.
All right, and again, you can kind of see in focus here this line of storms right here. That's the heaviest rain showing up, and that's where we're getting these winds mixing up enough to cause a little bit of circulation, and that is the case right here as we go into this tornado warning, which again now has been trimmed, so it doesn't include any portions of Mercer County to the west. This is all yours, Henry County, and again, north of this line, which is now north of Orion, south of Kelowna, south of Cambridge, all over already over Andover. So these areas up toward Geneseo, again, rural areas here, but you need to be taking your shelter. And if you're north of Interstate 80 or along and north of Highway 6 in northwestern Henry County and north central Henry County, again, this line is coming your way. So that's why we would like to see you taking shelter, or like to know of you taking shelter. Again, a little bit of a circulation perhaps there. Also looking at some suspicious circulations right there. And as we time this out, again, go to the previous 5-minute mark. So let's say 8:50 Kelowna, 8:50 Cleveland, Kewaunee at about 8:55 as this continues to move your way as well. Even though you're not in the warning, Kewaunee, this line is going to affect you as we go to Atkinson, back toward Interstate 80 at about 9 o'clock or so. 9 o'clock, 9:05 to Neponsit, and 9:10 at around Erie. So again, take shelter, because even though we have this warning here, you see the line extends outside of the warning, and that's also showing these little bumps that could be spin-up tornadoes at any time. Granted, they would probably be very weak tornadoes, but even a weak tornado can cause damage and injury. That's why it's so important to take this whole line seriously, although it does maybe break up a little bit north of the metro, but it is still showing signs of moving through portions of eastern Scott County heading into Clinton County as well. And again, even up here, we might have to take a look for some particular rotations as we go through.
Yeah, at least 65-mile-an-hour winds up there into the northern Scott County, and eventually, as you mentioned, Eric, into Clinton County. But yeah, I am concerned about this particular area here we've been watching. Just to the northwest of Galva, there's not a tornado warning, but you're under severe thunderstorm warning, marked tornado possible. So again, the chances there. But right from Cambridge to Galva, that area, that portion of the line seems to be the area I'm concerned with, that we could see maybe some circulation. The area that was originally warned, where we have that black polygon up there into northwestern portions of Henry County, not the strongest rotation anymore. So nonetheless, we have to watch that because they could form pretty quickly. So
yeah, and the Weather Service is talking about that. They're saying it kind of is gaining a little bit of strength, perhaps, that couplet just southeast of Orion. So again, that's something, and now a new tornado warning has just been issued.
And for that area that we have been talking about there. Now this includes Anawan, Kewaunee, and Galva. So the area that we've been watching here closely now has a tornado warning here. I'll get the information on that for you, Eric, here. And,
yeah, there is Interstate 80, Anawan, Atkinson, all now that south east and eastern portion of Henry County, because this has to move through. And anywhere along there, we could be seeing, it's kind of tough to see, kind of tough to make out. If you know radar, you've been educated to see what these pixels all mean. And where we're getting those bumps of green and red, those indicate opposing winds. And that's all you need for even a small spin-up tornado. And sometimes, you can see the size of the pixels here on the screen. Sometimes they're within those pixels. That's how small they can be. But nonetheless, if they're moving along at 45 plus miles an hour, and here are a few of those little areas of suspicion, then obviously even a small tornado, EF0, EF1, can do damage. And we're just,
hopefully this is just a bad pixel, but maybe this is saying 100-mile-an-hour winds within this, but could be just a bad pixel. I'd say 60-mile-an-hour winds are going to be probably the max that we see This is not like what we saw a few, let's see, back in July of last year, where we saw confirmed 100-mile-an-hour winds and an EF1, EF2 tornado that moved through. But we have circulations that are moving into the Kewanee area here, just outside of Cambridge right now. And yeah, there are little areas here all along that line. I mean, they've got that warning in a good spot. I think this chunk of the line is definitely the area where the circulation is a concern. We'll time out, put a track on that here momentarily. But you mentioned something, Eric, that the storms north of the Quad Cities not really doing much, and that's by design. I think we noticed that the parameters really fall off pretty sharply as you go north of I-80. But we continue with these 2 tornado warnings here in Henry County, Kewanee, Anawan, up towards Atkinson, Geneseo. Take shelter now.
Yeah, and the Weather Service is noticing those embedded circulations, several along this line. So even though we might not be seeing anything, any kind of signature that's too strong, we do not want to underplay this. So as we take this out, again, we're looking at Kewanee area about 8:57. Weathersfield 8:58. Kewanee still around 8:55 to 9 o'clock. Atkinson and Anawan a few minutes after 9 o'clock. So again, if these are areas that you are in, kind of use those estimated times. Take about 5 to 10 minutes off and make sure you're in your tornado shelter as the storms roll through. Make sure you know where the kids are, where the pets are. Make sure you're prepared. I mean, it can happen this fast. And although it doesn't look like we're seeing any kind of major tornadic action along this line, that's not what we're here about. It's the small ones that can pop up within moments and still move through town and cause some damage.
Look at this. This is so interesting, Eric. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we got about 5 or 6 rotations within this line.
Say numerous.
there are numerous. So it's going to be hard to, we're going to just kind of go broad with this. It'll be so hard to pick a specific area. But yeah, we continue with these tornado warnings. It's going to eventually be an issue here for Bureau County too. So you folks in Bureau County have been, you and Whiteside County have kind of been the only ones kind of left out. I don't think it's anything to be upset about, but you're going to get your storms here momentarily. Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised, even though we are talking about north areas. Farther north are going to be fairly quiet, but this warning could certainly be extended in the next few minutes. Say if that line gets to Kewanee and holds together or closes in on Atkinson, I'm sure that's about when the warning, either warning will go up for Bureau County, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning with tornado possible or a tornado warning, as we have both here. This latest addition to Henry County, which is eastern and southeastern Henry County, that goes till 9:45. And again, keep an eye on these estimated times of arrival. That's what we're showing you here when we take a look at the back end of this line, which we try to get to coincide with the leading edge of the storms. That's when the weather will really start to go downhill. And use those times as a guide. You take about 5 minutes at least off of those times and make sure by then you are in with your family in your safe space. And if that's a mobile home park, there should be a designated shelter. If you're in an apartment building and it's got nothing but 3 floors above the ground, get under the stairwell or in the smallest hallway, maybe the laundry room if it's located under the stairwell on that lowest level. Might be a ground level, but still, that's going to be the safest place to go. Obviously, if you have a basement, you want to get into the central location of your basement. Small room there too. Get as many walls between you and the storm as possible. Get away from windows and get deep into the building. There's a little circulation there that we're zooming in on.
Yeah, near Geneseo.
Yeah, and there's Geneseo. So we go west on 80 and right north of 170th Avenue, though.
Just east of the Big X there.
Yeah, just in that is the location, southeast of the Big X, which is right there. And there you can see we're getting these couplets to really match up here and get a little bit more prominent, which means that any circulation that we are getting could be a little bit stronger. So that's something that we're seeing through a lot of rain here. The radar sees it. You never will, because we've got the heavy rain and it's dark. So let this radar kind of guide you. And there we go. 901 near the power plant, Geneseo at about 902. The Air Park, Geneseo Air Park at about 5 minutes after 9. That's where this leading edge will likely be by then or close to those times. Take about 5 minutes off. If you are in those vicinities, I mean, Geneseo, you should be taking shelter right now if you are in Geneseo proper or especially to the south. And there, look at that. This is our debris signature. That's a little bit concerning because that's been one of the clearest debris signatures we've seen all night.
If you're in Geneseo, you need to take your tornado precautions right right now if you haven't already, because we're not only, I was just going to look at this because the National Weather Service is noting, they said most likely there is a active tornado with this, but when they put that out, this must be a new scan here of the correlation coefficient or debris tracker that shows where there could be some debris. What it does is that debris gets lofted up into the air when it hits things, and with radar, it looks out and sees the particles of rain, the hail, and then debris is a lot different and it's a lot bigger, and that's where we get that drop out there. It looks like we got a tornado ongoing here.
Because this is probably a few minutes old. I just want to say, as Kyle mentioned, if you're in Geneseo, you need to be in shelter right now. Anywhere around Geneseo, especially to the south, if we have a tornado, we likely do, and that's it. Right where we get that little spike of green there and the red, that is going to be what we call a debris signature. So something's being lofted into the air. That gives us a very clear indication that we're dealing now with a tornado. And you can see it's headed right toward Geneseo, maybe a little west, but again, this line is moving to the east as well, so that might put it very close to Geneseo proper. And if that is a couple minutes old, this is going to be on town right about now. So that's why you need to be taking shelter.
Look at that.
Let's get it big now. Wow.
Oh boy, it's about to cross 80.
South of 1200, and the Weather Service mentioned it crossing I-80, and it's happening now, or it just happened. So I know that up on this side of town, northwest town, there's a trailer park up there. One of, I think, two in Geneseo, one more centrally located on 6, but that's moving right your way, and you folks need to be in your tornado shelters right now. If we have, that looks to be a tornado on the ground right along Interstate 80. When this radar frame was taken, this could already be north and west. You could follow the pixels kind of moving that way. So it's almost following the pixels
due north there.
So,
look at that.
Yeah, it looks like it is more to the north there. But now between 1200th and 2200th Avenue, that's where we likely have a tornado on the ground in Henry County, Illinois right now.
And this is updating every hour. I would like to note too, real quick here, it is the top of the hour. We're at 9 o'clock here, so you're watching KWQC TV6 Davenport, Iowa. Meteorologist Kyle Dickens along with Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland. We are tracking what looks to be a tornado on the ground here just on the western fringe of Geneseo. If you're in Geneseo, you need to be in your shelter right now. If you're heading west or know anybody heading west out of, say, the Atkinson area, they need to pull off and get off and find shelter immediately. Same thing, don't leave the metro heading east on I-80. This is now over top of I-80 right now, moving close to the Geneseo area, but certainly we'll start tracking it kind of street level here, but to the north, just outside of Cleveland area, but Joslin. If this continues on, it's going to be a threat for Joslin here as it continues to the north. But we look back here, Eric, look at this. You can see where that tornado formed, and boom, look at observed tornado. So they're confirming this too. That banner just changed. So here, again, it's on top of I-80, just to the west of Geneseo.
See if I can get any information on that, or I should say on the who observed it, what notes they're sending out here. Let's see.
While you're doing that, the circulation is right now, the tornado is right now over top of TDS. Okay, there's a tornado debris signature with this now being notified, and we're seeing that here too. So yeah, right there.
Next scan, it should be somewhere near 2200th, if not north of that.
And this is thankfully, look at that right there. There it goes. It's every minute we're getting a new scan here, thankfully. So we're able to track this almost in real time here, about a minute delay. Wolf Road, it's about to cross over Wolf Road. It continues on the ground north, let's see, 2150th Avenue, and heading towards north 2300th Avenue. Definitely a confirmed tornado here.
Yeah, and this is going to be up towards Shady Beach, which is in the vicinity of Joslin. If you were to zoom out, you say I can use this now. I'm going to give it a try.
Let's give it a shot there. Let's see if you...
Yeah, it's just, I think we've got too much going on. Yeah, too much is going on top of the screen there.
No worries. Okay.
I'm cut out, so we'll just use radar right now.
We'll go back to radar here momentarily. Give me 1 second as we do that. But yeah, they are confirming this tornado here near Geneseo. So as you can see on the banner there, this is a very dangerous situation for you folks here in western portions of Henry County.
Yeah, and there you can see this is the line of storms we've been talking about. And now at this point, we've got somewhere right over here a tornado which will little, actually it's probably, yeah, there's a little hook right there. Can you see that hook?
Yeah, yeah, look at that.
And that coincides with everything we've just seen. And again, if we want you to move the map down a little bit, because I just want to show folks that that Shady Beach came up. There's Joslyn in that vicinity right there. So that's where this tornado is going to be moving, probably right in between the two, because as it moves north, there's just a touch of eastward movement with it as well. So now tornado on the ground that has been confirmed, as you can see by our tag there. And this warning goes till 9:15, but again, this will be extended. This is the warning that's just been, this is that first warning till 9:15 that included northwestern Henry County, Illinois. And now as we watch up toward Wolf Road, this is where it's probably already over Wolf Road right now, as we note that the radar scans are coming back a little bit after a couple, 3 minutes. But again, it looks like it's starting to diminish. We had some dark blues and whites in there before, as you can see right there, as it was crossing Interstate 80 or getting north of I-80. But then now it looks like our latest scan had that going down in strength a little bit, and you'll see it here. Maybe not the whites or the blues, which is good. Maybe it's just a touch and go tornado. But even in the rural areas, we know there are homesteads out there and farms, and we want to make sure that you know that, especially now, if you're north of Wolf Road, say in a trajectory to Shady Beach or Joslyn, you need to take shelter right now, because that tornado that is confirmed is moving north your way.
Yeah, just northeast of Kelowna right now, heading towards, as you mentioned, Shady Beach, Wolf Road. Some Quarry Road here is another road that's going to be impacted by this if it is still on the ground. By the looks of it, we still have debris being lofted into the air. This was as of almost 2 minutes ago was the most recent scan here. So again, about every minute or two, we're getting new scans, and we're going to continue to watch that. But yeah, it really spiked up the minute it crossed I-80. And once you see those blues, that's almost a for sure sign that you've got a tornado. And
yeah, right.
Some pretty significant debris. But look at that. That's a pretty, coverage-wise, that's a pretty significant area for that debris ball. I mean,
yeah,
it is covering a pretty good chunk of real estate, but circulation is heading right towards Shady Beach at this point.
And I don't know if we have any traffic cams that can be pulled up in that part of Interstate 80, just west of Geneseo.
No,
doesn't sound like we do, unfortunately. I might notice.
New tornado warning there.
Yeah, there's a new tornado warning, and here it is on Wolf Road. Now probably just north of Wolf Road, but again, we're seeing this head north and a little bit east towards Shady Beach and Joslyn. Hillsdale right up next on the Rock River. So everyone in this vicinity, and that's why we've got this tornado warning extended, because of that northern movement. Doesn't look like it's going to be getting into Bureau County, but that is pretty much like a proverbial sore thumb. And you can track, if we loop that one more time, the movement from the south to the north primarily, but maybe just a little bit east of the north. So that means that Joslyn, Hillsdale, I would say if it maintains that path, it will go right through Hillsdale if it's still a tornado. We're not trying to frighten you and say that there's a tornado on the way to Hillsdale, but if this were to maintain its path and remain a tornado, although right now it looks like it might be weakening a little bit, but I'm not going to bank on that, it would be taking a trajectory very close to, if not right over, Hillsdale, Illinois. So that's why we've got this extension of the tornado warning, and I didn't get a time on that. That's probably going to be around 10.
Here. I believe so. We'll go ahead and check that, but that's the main one there that we've been watching. So 9:30 on that.
9:30, okay.
Yes. But this is now also, would like to mention too, this Eric, this goes into Whiteside County too, including just outside of Prophetstown. But Prophetstown, I go ahead and move in to your tornado shelter. But Erie, you're going to be in line for this too. This is closing in on I-88. So if you're traveling on I-88, get off right now.
It looks like it's moving right toward Hillsdale. So if you know anybody that's in the Joslyn area that was thinking about going out, keep them in their shelter. Same thing with Hillsdale. Now's the time to take shelter, because this is still, it might not be as strong as it looked a little bit earlier, but it is still maintaining definition here. And I can't wait to see the latest radar scan to see where that goes north of Wolf Road. But again, it's maintaining that north with just a little bit eastward path. And that means it's going to be very close to Joslyn. If this holds together, it could be right on top of Hillsdale within about another 20 minutes or so. And that would take us to around 9:30, which is when this particular warning expires. And you can see the northern portion of that warning is up Interstate 88 between Hillsdale and the Prophetstown exit around Erie. So there's a little bit of a timeline here, and might be I'm not sure what speed you got on that, but
I kept it at 45, which is what they're warning for.
Okay,
here.
okay.
So let's double check that.
yeah,
though, just
then
to
that's
make
good
sure.
because that gives us about 10, not even 10 minutes. It's in Joslyn, about 10 minutes or so to Hillsdale. And again, I'm a little concerned about Hillsdale because if it maintains this path, it's going to be right on you. But I do want to point this out too. Look at this. Observe. This is an observed tornado now. And not only have they observed it from the ground, but we are watching it now from radar. And we've had this little couplet right there is what we call it. And that's moving to the northeast, more toward the north. So that's going to be,
wow, it's still
and that's
there.
still there, boy. You know, and it looks like this, what you're seeing here, this would be the tornado itself, and everything right here is what's being drawn up and pushed forward in the thunderstorm, any debris. So there would be the tornado and the core of the rotation right there, and debris that's being sucked up and pushed forward by the winds in this storm right there, kind of overhanging before the tornado even gets to the area. That's a scary signature.
And I want to mention this too. The last time we saw this goes back to March 31st of 2023 when corn stalks got lofted. It was out near the Keota, Iowa area. And we saw the same thing happen where just outside that area of circulation or that debris ball,
you know, and that's what worries me because
of debris.
There's no corn stalks out there right now.
So it's
this
probably
is
hit some homes
serious
or,
debris that could be from building damage or tree damage. But again, it's right on Shady Beach. Here you go. Going to be right on top of Shady Beach. I know, unfortunately, there's a lot of, I don't know if that park has gotten all the RVs into it yet, but you got to know that some people at the RV park there have probably put their RVs or trailers into that park now that the weather's been warming up. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be going right over the Shady Beach area, just staying east of Joslyn. Although, you know, one thing about these, depending on how this kind of fans out ahead of the actual tornado, even say eastern portions of Joslyn, there might be debris raining from the sky in this case, because again, looks like it's starting to not take on as much definition, but it's always at the tail end here where the tornado is, and then the debris that kind of surrounds it, especially forward in this case, as we've just been seeing, kind of a debris shower ahead of the actual tornado. Still heading over Shady Beach right up toward Hillsdale. You know, and if this moves east any, then Erie comes into play.
I will say this too, what we could be seeing here, because it does look like it is weakening a little bit. I think this is on that warm front, which is why we're seeing it maintain itself. But look at just to the north of Joslyn, we're starting to see a new circulation form here that would, to me, is concerning that we might have a kind of a regeneration of this, and that would bring it right into Hillsdale, as you mentioned. But Spring Hill area, and this is right now. This
is
new
right on
I-80. I was just going to say, right on I-88 there to the northeast of Cleveland.
Yeah, so we've got this one here. We've got this one here. Again, where the green is dipping down, that's air going toward the radar site. The red is air going away. So we have, as Kyle's pointed out, somewhere in here, north of Joslyn, maybe another circulation forming. But we've also got this one here, and this is where we're getting that debris ball or that debris cluster. And that is something that it's a confirmed tornado from the ground reports, but that is something that shows us that it's definitely something that's causing damage, because debris is being literally sucked up into the atmosphere to the point where the radar beam, which at this point is a little higher in the sky now that we're into western Illinois, that high that the radar beam can see it, because of course the radar beam goes straight up, but the earth curves down from it as the earth curves and we go out from the radar site. But that's very concerning. And if you're in that vicinity, you need to be taking your shelter now. And again, another notch right there, another notch over here, and that's just why this line is being warned, because the likelihood of more circulation, and maybe this next round gets northeastern Henry County and portions of Bureau County. That would be very soon, because this line is about to run out of that.
I was just going to say, you know, here towards Hoople area, north of Atkinson, you're not technically under a tornado warning, but I can tell you that we at least have damaging winds, but seeing some tightening up there with that line. I want to mention too, Atkinson, Anawan, this is moving through Kewanee. The threat is now over for that tornado concerns, but we're going to go back up here to the most concerning part of this storm, and that's where we had that debris ball, as you mentioned, Eric. And what a debris ball is, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when we look at radar, I'll put it back on here and we'll show it. It's an area that we pick up the debris being lofted up into the sky from a tornado. And so looks like we've lost it, but you can see where it was, clear as a bell here, where it was to the south of Joslin. And then right when it moved over top of I-80 just to the west of Geneseo, it was at its strongest. You could see just to the south there, and kind of fanned out a little bit there, just to the southeast of Joslin. But
look at that. I mean, there's right on top of the Rock River. Well, that's not the Rock. Yeah, I think that is, but yeah,
right over
Shady Beach right there, right on top of Shady Beach right now, and it's about to make that jump. And boy, as we continue to see a pretty clear definition here of at least the core of this, maybe the spread of debris is now kind of rolling over to the east a little bit, but still, that is very concerning because we've had the confirmed observed tornado, and then to see that coincide with it, that's all kinds of concern right there, especially for you folks around Shady Beach up to Hillsdale especially, which is where this would track.
New tornado warning here till 9:45. This is going to be for northwestern Bureau County. So now we're into Bureau County, just outside of Walnut. This is going to be New Bedford area. This does include Hoople up towards Prophetstown, just outside Sterling Rock Falls. So Sterling Rock Falls, you're not in this, but Prophetstown, Tampico area, you are now in a tornado warning. Once again, New Bedford, Mineral areas, also probably just outside of Neponset there, but north of Langley here into the northwestern portion of Bureau County, you got a tornado warning. Again, we've been watching circulations, not really the same deal that we're dealing with over towards the Rock Island County into Whiteside County storm that is had confirmed tornado with it. We've been watching that debris being lofted, but this is just those embedded circulations. But just to the north of Atkinson there, heading towards Hoople, eventually towards Tampico, looks like the strongest of the circulations within that line, Eric.
All right.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, right there. Look at that big spike that we just saw in that area that we just noted.
Yep, there it is right there, and that's just to the west of Atkinson Road or 2200 Street. There's Hoople right there, and maybe a little bit of a debris signature starting to form. And again, that debris cluster is what the tornado is literally picking off the ground, spinning in its core, and then as it gets higher up, it starts to spread out. I mean, it's an example I can use because you're probably all familiar with it, but think of the movie Twister, how things went up and then got spit out away from the actual tornado. That's what we have been seeing here, and that's what we're so far with that other tornado that we've been looking at. But here we're looking at maybe another circulation forming, and we've got that little pixel that's indicating that there is something being picked up on the ground, and that would be right at the tip of that little circulation that we're seeing right there. It's down to 1 or 2 pixels right now, but it is still there west of Hoople. So again, anywhere in these areas, you really need to be taking shelter because you are now under a warning that does go into portions of Carroll County and also portions of northwestern Bureau County. There you see New Bedford. And again, we're concentrating over here, but the reason that these areas are in the warning is because that line extends south and east off of our screen. And as that whole line moves up, it's a line that's been producing these spin-up tornadoes. And is this a new warning that just popped up, or is it?
That's the same warning.
All right, yeah, I thought I saw that flash, but I guess I saw something else flash on the screen.
Well, you did. What they did was they dropped that observe tag with that tornado warning here for the Rock Island, Whiteside County, northwestern Henry County, and moved that back down to a radar indicated tornado. But they are noting the same circulation that we are too, and they're watching that very closely. They're concerned this is a new tornado that has formed here. All
right, Leon Corners there, Prophetstown there, between about 9:20 and 9:30. So by 9:20, Leon Corners and even Prophetstown, you should, if you're not in your shelters, you should be ready to go at a moment's notice. Have the kids ready, the pets ready, everything you need to take to the basement, because again, we've been seeing now historically tornadoes on this line that has been moving through portions of western Illinois, just south and west, or south and east, I'm sorry, of the Metro Quad cities, just down the I-80, I-88 corridors.
Yeah, you're going to continue to watch that. Watch out here too. We are hearing too now, this is a concern, and probably a sign that we saw some tornado impact some infrastructure, but most of Geneseo is without power at this point. We're going to check some power outages here around the area, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of power outages here, especially in Henry County. So we'll check that, but yeah, we continue with this circulations. Okay, that's from, thank you, Beth. That's from some of our folks that live in that area are reporting that. So, so that is certainly a concern. That means that most likely that circulation that we saw and that debris, it probably hit some power lines there. Right now, let's look in Henry County, we've got customers out, about 437 customers reported out as of last check. Mercer County has about 250. So we're going to keep an eye on that, but we are starting to note some power outages here as well.
Okay, and we're waiting for some updates from the Weather Service. They're just reminding us why we have these tornado warnings, and it's just what we've been telling you. We've got these circulations all along this line that is kind of sweeping. It's already swept through the Metro Quad cities, but it is sweeping now through portions of western Illinois. Again, you can see it's pretty much between the I-80 and I-88 corridors. So right now, that's kind of the danger zone, and we've already had an observed tornado. We've been noticing some debris with some other circulations. So if you are in these familiar spots, Hoople, Erie, New Bedford, Prophetstown, Tampico, Morrison, you need to be taking shelter now or getting prepared to take shelter as this line of storms is on the way to your areas. They're way up top. We've got the Whiteside County Airport just south of 88 and south of Rock Falls. Hopefully planes are hangared right now, because even with the strong winds here, sometimes that can put stress on them as they're tied down. Some can flip if they get a really good gust of wind. But there you can see we're looking at these circulations now in both of our warnings. There's one here just up Interstate 88 north of Hillsdale. There's another one that Kyle's tracking out right now, still right around 9:30 in Prophetstown. So make sure you're in your shelter by about 9:20 to 9:25. Riverside School about 9:35. Then Linden just outside up the road from Prophetstown, 9:36. So make sure if you're Linden, you're taking shelter by about 9:30.
Yep, and this is going to head into Prophetstown, this area of circulation that we're watching, and it is the most defined area of circulation along this line. Real quick here, we'll track that here momentarily. I do want to just give a broad view here, kind of go back out, look at everything as a whole, because we do have some areas that we can clear out for the threats over here. Really in the Quad City Metro, actually. We can say the threats over.
We do have some more showers forming back to the west, so I don't see any lightning with those. But again, it's really not a concern there. What's concerning is what's moving through western Bureau County all the way up toward east central Iowa. I mean, still Jackson County and portions of Clinton County still ahead of that line, but we're not really concerned about that part of the line because this is a little far north at this point. You might have some strong thunderstorms, but for the time being, it's these two boxes right here. These are tornado warnings that we have going on for much of Whiteside County, Henry County, even into Bureau County, and getting into, as I said, Whiteside County at this point. This will continue to move north. Hopefully by the time it gets north of I-88, it will get into that area of weakening aerodynamics or dynamics, let's say. And but until then, we still have the issue here with these tornado warnings. This last one till 9:45, which includes Prophetstown. And right now, Kyle's scanning along that line. I'll get out of the way just in case he can find anything, but again, some of our spots would be right around this pixel here. That's at the end, and it's near that little trying to be a couplet, and then there's another one to the east there. But and the fact that you're not finding anything is good, because if there's any circulation right now, that puts it higher off the ground versus something that's on the ground, like we just saw a few minutes ago, that was obviously catching some debris. And I will say this, that the Weather Service will probably be very keen to get out there early tomorrow and see if there's anything they can see in terms of confirmed damage, because it certainly looked like there was debris being pulled up by that tornado. Yeah,
a couple of areas here in Bureau County, not too concerned about it. I think if you're in the Princeton area, we're talking more of a strong thunderstorm at this point.
Some wind, yeah.
Wind, yeah. We'll keep an eye on this nonetheless, because these circulations can happen real quick. But the further north these go, really the threat's going to kind of weaken a little bit here. And it looks like once it gets north of I-80, we're kind of noticing that trend where it downtrends a little bit, but we're still holding on to that rotation here. Just on the northern side of Henry County, it is still going to impact, move right over top of Prophetstown. So let's hope it stays just a circulation and stays broad. But look at this north of Cordova too. So that would move right into the Comanche-Clinton area. So we'll watch that too, a little spike of color there. So we'll continue to watch this line here, little pockets of areas of circulation we're watching closely.
Yeah, besides that one there that you just pointed out, we're still watching this one right on the line here between northern Henry County and southern Whiteside County.
Look at how much that weekend. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Very good sign. Well,
Or is it just crossing over into?
The red here, this one looks like it's still hanging on, but we'll keep an eye on that one too, as you mentioned. That's going to be, well, Princeton Beach is right around there, so this gets us up toward Comanche, which is right there. So if you're in Comanche, no warning out for you, but I would say since this is heading your way, right across the Mississippi River here, and tornadoes can cross rivers. If that is a circulation, that will cross the Mississippi. If you're in Comanche, I would take shelter right now for about the next 10 minutes. If you're in Clinton, be prepared to take shelter. You're right in the path of that circulation at this point. Again, no tornado warning, but it is showing up on radar, as have all of these little notches along this line, which some have proved to be tornadoes. So keep that in mind. Then again, we're kind of looking at some stronger winds around Tampico right now. That's kind of peaking, but it's right along that line that we're trying to see any more circulations. Till 9:30, we have this tornado warning here that includes Erie and Jocelyn, although Jocelyn, you're probably pretty much cleared out. And then till 9:45, it's this warning here that encompasses parts of Bureau County and the eastern portions there of Whiteside County. And again, it looks like everything now is lifted well north of I-80, but now it's closing in on the Interstate 88 corridor. And I think we're trying to find, yeah, there's still a little bit of warm air here, maybe being cut off by that, kind of occluded by that line of showers and thunderstorms. Yeah, you go to near 70 in Kewanee and 65 in Princeton, and you're moving north here into the 50s, Rock Falls to Clinton, and back here the rain's already cooled things back to the 50s. So that's kind of our literal hot spot right here as we get into these areas that are along and north of Interstate 80 and up toward Interstate 88 right now.
Yeah, we've continued to shave back that tornado watch too. So here in the metro, the threat is over. So even though we are hanging on to that watch, it will be canceled here for our area, for the metro Quad Cities, that is. But continues for Henry, Whiteside, and Bureau counties here for, right now it's tagged till 11 p.m., but I can tell you I think we'll see that end a little bit quicker and move out a little bit quicker as well. So we're back to radar here. We continue with that severe thunderstorm warning and those tornado warnings. Still some circulation, but it looks like as this line of activity has moved and is kind of getting closer to that cooler air, it's starting to weaken a little bit. So the circulations aren't as well defined, but something we're going to continue to watch here. But heading towards Prophetstown. Prophetstown, you need to continue with your tornado precautions here as this area of circulation continues to close in on you.
Yeah, it's not quite as prominent, but it is showing there, and that's why as it moves right to the north toward Prophetstown, or maybe just east of Prophetstown, that's why you do want to take shelter in those areas and up toward and along Interstate 88 as well.
Okay, and this is a report coming in here that we have power poles down on Wolf Road in Geneseo, possible damage as well. We tracked that circulation right over Wolf Road. That was right where we were. So hopefully the folks that live there or were close to it had time to move to shelter there. We had give you a nice alert to that before it was tagged as an observed tornado there. So that is, okay, hold on. Okay. Got it. Okay, so an update there, just getting an update from our newsroom here, and looks like lots of power outages starting to come out here from the Geneseo area, and you can see there's the map, outage map. Really, oh yeah, most of the town looks like it's without power.
Wow.
So what happened is, you get out in those rural areas, you get some of those trunk lines that power a whole town, and yeah, that's going to be
it's going to take a while to get that back going.
That's true. So it looks like
our hearts go out to you folks, because that's not a pleasant situation to have. It's going to be unknown how long it takes to get that back, but there's what's caused it, that line of storms, and particularly in the case of Geneseo, the tornado that went right over Wolf Road, which Kyle just mentioned the weather service report from, and we're still watching that line. Again, the farther north it goes, the better off we generally should be, but there are still some circulations along this line, and we still have these active tornado warnings. So here's Erie, here's Interstate 88, Morrison right up here, just on the top of that warning box. So again, you still want to play on the side of safety, and if you're, say, into Whiteside County, the southern portion of Whiteside County, right along the county line, I'd say you're okay, but for the rest of you in these warning boxes, and even north of 88 up toward, here you go, Highway Highway 30, these right up toward Morrison and Point South. You want to be in your shelter now because this is what's approaching that line of possible circulations. And we can't say right now where there's going to be one. We can kind of point out where there might be one just based on the radar indications, but just to be safe, this is why you want to be taking shelter now, even though you're not in a warning up toward Highway 30, but these storms are coming your way, so that's why you want to get in your safe spot.
Boy, I can tell you, I think the threat is over. Look at how
it is getting very ragged.
Yeah.
Yes,
you could tell it's overridden that warm front, and now it's to the north in that cooler air.
And remember,
the minute
Rock
it
Falls
hits
was
that,
at 50.
Yeah.
Something,
it is
57.
Collapsing completely. So that's good. That's great news for you folks up in Prophetstown. Up towards Sterling, I don't foresee this tornado warning getting extended. At this point, I don't even foresee the severe thunderstorm warning getting extended because it's just looking pretty ragged and weak at this point. You can see we're going to continue with those warnings, but a heavy thunderstorm moving through Bureau County at this point. Clinton area, and we're going to go up here to the north too because we do have a strong storm in parts of Jackson County. Also going to move into the Galena area here, Joe Davies, Carroll County as well. We're not dealing with any winds with this, and that's great news. Heavy rainfall certainly a possibility, more of a likelihood than anything. Yeah. But gusty winds, heavy rain, maybe some lightning, just kind of your general spring thunderstorms. We could use the rain, so it's not going to. I don't think anybody's going to complain about the rain. It is going to be a heavy rain though, so you got to watch for flooding. But
yeah, we've had some damage reported north of Atkinson that could be tornadic, and I'm sure based on what we saw, it probably is.
Yeah, we had a good pickup on these circulations as they were forming. We were showing them, and kind of before some of them got worn too. So that's why it's always good that's why we look at these products. I know this is something we don't typically show, and it kind of gets into the weeds of the meteorology, but it's very helpful because those folks that we were able to give warning to out ahead of it, say on Wolf Road, we gave them notice here probably about 5 or 6 minutes. They had to take shelter. So that's why we do what we do, but we continue with those tornado warnings.
Yeah, and that one farther west up the line, 9:30, so that one just expired, but we still have this one hanging on until 9:45, and as Kyle pointed out, it appears to be weakening, and you can really see what used to be a solid linear line of those dark reds is starting to section off now. It's starting to break up a little bit, so yes, that is a good sign. But let me review what we've had. We were picking up tornadic debris signatures here on the radar. We had an observed tornado that was going into Whiteside County from northern Henry County, and Geneseo hit with a power outage, and that was from that storm that's been moving through, but now starting to weaken somewhat. So we have had a confirmed tornado, and what that has completely done remains to be seen as people get out and maybe investigate things tonight, but also tomorrow during the light of day. But unfortunately, it looks like there has been some damage along the way. Right now, things are quieting down. We're not really noticing anything in terms of any signatures that would indicate debris. There was one right there, and that's the one that passed Geneseo. That's the tornado that probably took out the power as it moved up between areas south of Interstate 80 all the way up to Wolf Road. If you're familiar with that area, there you can see it coming on the screen now. Geneseo proper right here. But again, as it went over Interstate 80, and that's why I was wondering if we had any cameras there, because I'm wondering if there was anybody that was affected by that on Interstate 80 as it crossed over the road. Obviously, you know, trucking traffic 24/7, but that remains to be seen. That moved to the north, took out a little bit different signature. Core of the tornado here, debris aloft and spreading ahead of the actual tornado right out here. And that was going right over Shady Beach to just east of Joslyn, and then up toward Prophetstown and Erie. But again, it really quickly started to wind down. That was good news. And again, it really kind of hit that tripping point, Kyle, where it got so far north that the dynamics just kind of stopped, and it kind of weakened and fell off the map.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see with this particular tornado here that moved, it's clear, it's very clear to us that it was a tornado. What we're going to see with this is that low pressure system is actually that low might be moving over top of the Quad City Metro right now. And this was in that triple point area of the cold front, the warm front, and it took that, it was kind of an opportunity for that storm to really get itself going, and it certainly did. So, but it did, I mean, we'll do this. So the storm gets started right about, or that tornado rather, gets started right about here. Okay, and then we advance things through, and that thing went all the way up to, gosh, right about here. That's quite the path. I mean, that is.
Well, and considering how big that is relative to what we're looking at, that's pretty
maybe an
impressive.
8-mile path. I mean, for this kind of setup that we saw today, not the most conducive for tornadoes. These are usually your spin-up tornadoes. That thing was on the ground for a while, so that's impressive. And we're going to see a lot of damage, unfortunately, with it. And we're already starting to hear reports of that. As again, we've got reports that there's quite a few power lines down on Wolf Road. But we continue with that tornado warning here, just for another less than 15 minutes or so here.
Yep, and you can see that into Illinois, we still have that band of heavy rain, but it is starting to break up in terms of the embedded thunderstorms. To the north, still some heavy rain as well, but boy, once we get north of the Mississippi, or not the Mississippi, but the I-80 corridor in Iowa, the 88 corridor in Illinois, things are really getting into a different kind of atmosphere north of the warm front. So although the rain continues to be heavy and continues to move to the north, there just aren't the dynamics to give us any spin in these areas. So that's why things are somewhat tame, relatively speaking, and the winds are going down as well as those storms, the strength of those storms kind of collapses. But we're just kind of right on the verge here. Again, I-80 Iowa, I-88 in Illinois, and as these storms lift to the north, and the Weather Service has this timed out pretty well. This warning, as you can see, will expire at 9:45, and that's right about where that line is now, just about ready to get out of this warning box, and some more collapsing, or maybe just a change of the radar beam there,
yeah,
but it's just kind of falling apart right in front of our eyes.
Yeah,
but that's good because it's already done damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And got to say thank you, Eric, for coming in here and helping. It was a crazy day. We saw quite a few tornado warnings here. It was a very active, our most active severe weather day so far this year. Yep. And unfortunately, we've got damage being reported with this as well. So we're going to hold on here until this tornado warning. Either they're going to allow it to expire, or I say they cancel it here. But they're tell you right now, the threat for really any severe weather at this point looks to be over. I think we could see still some heavy rainfall here, especially up towards Maquoketa, as you mentioned, and then also off to the Galena area. But here, Bureau County, those storms are now moving out into parts of Lee County, Illinois. Sterling Rock Falls, though, you're going to start getting into that kind of the back end of that heavier activity here. But overall, everything is weakening. And if you're south and west of the Quad Cities, and including the Quad Cities, the threat is completely over here for the evening. Yeah, and if you still have power, and if you are one of those in one of those areas, but you still have power and you can charge your phone, if you have any damage to let us know about, we would love to know where things happened, so we could get our news crews out there and kind of show folks why we actually do this, why we're on the air, and follow up on this tornado and other storm damage across the area. If it's safe to do that, if you have power to do that, because certainly if you are watching us right now on your phone, we want you to conserve as much power as you can if your power's gone out, because this might just be your lifeline for a few hours, maybe a few days. So if you can let us know if you still have power, where things have happened, we'd like to know that so we can send our news crews out there and kind of follow up on the story. But this is the band that's been crossing through tonight. You know, we were under tornado watch till 11. That continues to be shaved off from tail end to front end as the storms move through. And our warning here, as you can see, is up till 9:45 for portions of Bureau County and Whiteside County, even a little bit of Henry County. But again, I doubt we're going to see this amended or moved ahead, because as you can see, just based on the radar signature itself, what was a fairly dense line of thunderstorms is now starting to break up and weaken as it moves north of Interstate 88 or gets into those vicinities. And right now, we can tell you that there is really no active weather except for rain within that tornado warning, and it's about 5 minutes away from being canceled. So I think at this point it would be safe if we want to go back to NBC programming. And I know we've kind of obliterated that for you this evening, but remember, anything that we did go over you can catch on NBC.com as soon as tomorrow probably. And I know the Americas, it was a good episode tonight, how they filmed it. So take a look at NBC.com. I think what we'll do now is go back to the NBC program. We've got a 10 o'clock news to get ready for. And again, if you are safe and you can let us know if you have any storm damage, we can send our news crews to follow up on this severe weather situation. Thanks to Kyle Dickens for running radar. I'm Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland. Back to NBC on KWQC TV 6.
Michael Rodriguez. But they didn't have enough evidence to arrest him.
Free to go.
It was time to talk to Michelle again.